We scored the third. We thought we got a penalty for the 3-0. Both situations were correctly handled by the referee. And then we conceded quite fast afterwards the 2-1, and then there was 20-25 minutes to be played. They got into the game better and better. We got worse and worse. So we had to show mentality, and that's what we did. That's why we brought this win over the line.
I definitely give them credit the way they went 1v1 most of the times, all on the pitch. At times we were sloppy as well. We couldn't hold the ball as good as we normally do. But what was good, and obviously I'm looking at my own team, is that we kept fighting and making sure that we keep the 3 points here, and that's what we do.
We need to believe, if you can come here to play like we did against this unbelievable club, they are the first of the league, and then we show everyone we can beat them in the second half, of course. But the game is not only 45 minutes.
Liverpool didn't have a single shot in the second half of the game, and I'm told that hasn't happened for 8 years. That's a pretty incredible statistic.
You know why? Because Wolverhampton wake up in half-time and went in the game without afraid to play, take the risks, play with courage. I want to put my team playing like I saw in the second half.
Do you believe that Ibrahima Konate should have been sent off?
Yes, I don't want to speak about it, but in my opinion, the second yellow card must be shown.
The first yellow he got was a soft one, in my opinion. If he would have gotten the second one, he wouldn't have got 2 very soft yellow cards. You cannot play with a centre-back for 45 minutes against a strong team like Wolves with him not being able to make one single foul, so that's why I had to take him off.
We'll look at whether it should have been a second yellow card in a little while. But it actually turned out to be quite a tough afternoon, that, for Liverpool, didn't it? Which you weren't really expecting maybe at half-time.
Yeah, maybe not. But I think when you're in this situation and you're going for the league, there's times when you're not going to play in over the line. I remember when I was going for the league and you're looking at the players around you, whether it be Aguero or Tevez, just to have one of those moments to see us through. I think Liverpool, when they was attacking, they got the goals when they needed to, and then at the end, there was a really good challenge, which we're going to look at a little bit later, but it's just getting through. You can't always play to the best of your abilities. It's just about picking up points when you can.
I'll just pick up those names that you dropped. Virgil van Dijk mentioned it in that interview. He talked about Wolves being brave and wanting to go one-on-one, which they did the whole game, but in the first half, they just kept letting Liverpool out.
Yeah, I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Wolves today. They made the game entertaining. They was better in the second half, like they said. And they was brave. They was very brave to go there and try and press. They just didn't have the right balance in their press today, as we're going to see now. So they was trying to get high up the pitch, but what they ended up doing was leaving the back three of Doherty, Agbadou and Tati Gomez isolated. So now there's 2v2, and these are like 3 of the best attackers in the world. So as the ball gets played, it's actually a bad touch by Salah, and then Diaz just continues his run to opening the scoring for Liverpool. But Wolves kept after it. They kept trying to play through the lines, as we see here, but they lose it. Their initial thought is to try and get after it again, but it's so difficult because Liverpool, especially when they had Diaz on the pitch, were really good in this break. As we've seen them for years now, it takes some really good last-ditch defending for Wolves there to clear it up. Liverpool play out from the back. Wolves want to press again. They actually win this one, but as it's picked up and helped on, we've just highlighted there, Diaz is a great run, and we'll see the little nudge there, and he actually wins the penalty. And it's difficult if you're Agbadou in that position there. I don't think that it was enough for a foul, but the penalty is definitely a penalty from Jose Sarr, and Salah goes on and scores.
So
a goal,
you understand that not being pulled back for the...
Yeah, for the nudge on Agbadou, I don't think it's enough. But it's difficult. I've been there. You've probably been there as a centre-back. You're not expecting the contact. When it comes, you're a little bit off balance. But credit to Wolves after that first half for picking themselves
brave
up.
Though, weren't they? Even in the first half. I'm going to show you the second half as well. But in that first half, they were still brave, engaging. They just got a little bit exposed on that transition, didn't they?
Yeah, and Liverpool, and that's partly down to Liverpool as well, because Liverpool were really good in exposing the Wolves back three, but they didn't really have any cover, and there was man for man, which is difficult against Liverpool.
But then Wolves made Liverpool suffer in that second half. We heard Steve say in commentary, they didn't have a shot in the second half, Liverpool, and Wolves kept them in.
Yeah, they applied that pressure, did exactly what they did in the first half, but to a greater effect, and they brought on Manazzi and Bellegarde, and they just made a real difference. I think in terms of the pressing, it was a little bit better. There was a bit more organised, know exactly what they needed to do. And then it was about engaging at the right time. And when you've got these players who come on the pitch, it was interesting with Manatsi. He's normally a defensive midfielder, but he come on as like the lead man playing that number 9 role, and Cunha was getting involved too. Here, he gets another opportunity, lovely flip round the corner, 1v1 versus Alisson. Is one of the best at that, you know, one-on-one saves there. And again, this is just the goal here. They managed to get the ball back, and then Bellegarde gets on the ball, but one man for Wolves who keeps showing up week in, week out is that man, Cunha, who we've just highlighted there. Once he gets into these positions here, has he got the trickery, has he got the feet, and has he got the finish? Yes, he has. And just the last clip here, this is the difference. I mentioned moments before, Chappers, and these are the moments here. Had it been a striker in that position, he might have made it 2-2. And Wolves deserve so much credit for the way they applied themselves today. On another day, they might have got a draw, but look at that for a tackle, which one I look at again.
Well, and just before we do, but that performance, look, we know Wolves are down there and in that relegation battle. That's the kind of performance you can then build on.
Yeah, but I thought I watched Wolves against Blackburn, the FA Cup. I thought they was really good as well. I think when you come up against great opposition, sometimes it's difficult. But the difference between the teams that are lower, Cunha is a top 6 in any league in world football, in my opinion. So when you've got him to count on, you're always going to have a chance of, you know, getting out of the little bit of the rut that they're on.
Both of you, take us through that tackle again, because he's had a bit of a tricky season as Quansah, hasn't he?
And he finds himself in a difficult position because his fullback Robertson's played Manetzi on side, but that is the type of defending that you don't see that much anymore. I think, you know, just being out of position and really having to sprint and make a tackle. I think it goes with the opposite leg. So that's as good as a goal for me.
Yeah, I agreed. I think when you're going for the Premier League, it's all about moments, isn't it?
That is it. That could be one of those moments where if they go on and win it, they'll get...
He's had an impact. He's had impact. And it was difficult. He started the season, he got subbed at half-time. I think Slot said he wasn't aggressive enough, but today he showed how vital he can be to this team.
Got brought on at half-time today because Konate was brought off at half-time because Slot didn't want him on a yellow card for the whole of the second half. Was he lucky to still be on?
Listen, yeah, maybe, but I don't think this is a yellow card. It looks worse on that angle. But as you see, he's trying to make up the ground, Konate. He's just looking at the ball. And yes, it's a foul. I think it's a foul, but I don't think it's a second yellow.
In slow motion, it looks worse. I don't think it's a second yellow. I don't think you can be sending people off for that.
And as we often hammer VAR when things maybe don't go to plan, we praise it for the penalty that it overruled.
They should get some praise, because I think this, and initially when we all saw it, we thought it was a penalty. It goes sliding in. But, I mean, on the next angle, you see Jota flings his left leg into him straight away there. And, yeah, it's not a penalty. And he's lucky. He should be getting a yellow card for that, I think.
Yeah, I think his touch has just taken it a little bit away from him, and he knows that, and he can't shoot. And he's felt like
he's trying to feel the contact.
Yeah, like he's trying
to do.
Yeah, he thinks it's coming, but it never actually comes, and it just is a diver.
When we look at Liverpool's lead, and you could put this into historical context, and you know, Liverpool fans are probably thinking, "God, why do you want to show this? This is ridiculous." Only Newcastle, with similar leads after 25 Premier League games, have lost the title.
I mean, the odds are in their favour. I think, with the squad that Liverpool have, I think give them confidence. I think, bar any massive injuries at this stage of the season, they should be bringing it home.
OK, they've got a big week, though, haven't they? The Aston Villa game is played this week because that is on the League Cup final weekend. Then it's Manchester City away, and then it's a midweek game at home to Newcastle.
Yeah.
They're 3 testing fixtures. We'll probably know more about their lead and their title credentials after that, won't we?
Yeah, if they get through those next 3 games positively, whether that's 3 wins, 2 wins and a draw.
Positive.
Yeah. however it looks. But I think then you've got the title now.
Yeah, I'd agree with Ashley on that.
If they go to City and win, is it?
Why are you trying to do that? Let's just wait.
Next.
Arne, congratulations. I guess the roar from the crowd at the end said a lot, but for you personally, how big are those 3 points?
Just as big as all the other ones, but this one is big as well. I said in the dressing room, maybe you could come in a bit disappointed because it wasn't our best second half. We had to fight till the end. We needed Ali in an important moment, block a free kick from a promising position. But in a season where you want to achieve something, no matter what you want to achieve, but if you want to achieve something at all, you need to have wins like this as well. So it was 2 weeks ago where we played fantastic football, beat Spurs with 4-0. That's in a season, but wins like this should also be included in a season where you want to achieve something.
As you analyse that second half, I think it was 2017 the last time that Liverpool played a second half of football without registering a shot. Was that a sign of just how good Wolves were, or was that part of the game plan to just see it out at 2-0?
That was never the game plan, not to create anything at all. We did have a few promising or good situations, but one of them was disallowed for offside. One of them was a penalty that got turned over by the VAR. So yeah, we were by far not enough a goal threat, but in the second half. But that was also due to the fact that Wolves took a lot of risks, brought us many times in 1v1 situations, and I think the team felt that today, to bring this win over the line, defending was a bit more important than attacking a lot, and that was then the end result. But ideally, you play a different second half than this one. But if this is what it needs to win a game, then I'm happy to see that these players can do this as well.
Yeah, I mean, you must be so pleased with the effort levels. They did have to work hard in that second half. Andy Robertson did come in here and he said fatigue was probably a factor. Would you agree, watching on?
Yeah, you always wonder if that is only physique, that it comes from running a lot, or it's a bit of mental physique as well after all the events what happened in last game, and especially in the last 8 minutes. And then again today we were mentally tested because we thought we scored the third, we thought we got a penalty for the first, both situations correctly handled by the referee, but then conceding the 2-1 straight afterwards, that is a mental test, and that's what we did very good. But if you feel the stress of, maybe that leads to us being a bit tired, because I did see for the first time maybe this season that in the end of the game players were more tired than they were in other games. Yeah.
Speaking of mentality, what about Luis Diaz today? A goal and an assist, chipping in at a really important time when you've got some massive games coming up back to back.
Yeah, it wasn't the plan that Cody got injured because Lucio was playing against Plymouth, and we knew that we always had Cody, so in retrospect it wasn't ideal that Lucio played 90 minutes over there, but so now with Cody being injured he has to play even more than maybe the idea was when he went into the Plymouth game. But he showed a great character and personality today by being really important in 2 goals, but also his work rate, like all the others, was outstanding.
And for added context to just how big these 3 points are, with Arsenal catching up a little bit overnight, just that breathing space a little bit at the top of the table, were you able to lean into that a little bit?
No, you can never breathe, I would say, in this competition. I think I saw before the game that Arsenal is a 15 games unbeaten run, 10 wins, 5 draws. And I think during these 15 games, the gap has always been 7 points. So that tells you what we do and what they do. And that's, I think, what makes the Premier League such a great league. Last 2 seasons was mainly between Arsenal and City, that both of them had to keep on winning. Now we are involved at the moment as well. And if you want to compete for something special, that you have to win a lot of games in this league. And now it's Arsenal, next season or the season before it was City and Arsenal. So we know we have to win a lot of games, and that's what we are focusing on.
Gantry, Gary, but this was tense at the end, probably for different reasons for you than it was for example, Jamie.
I actually thought it was a really good day for Liverpool, but I actually thought it was half a decent day for Arsenal as well, in thinking that Liverpool have got Villa coming up away, they've got City coming up away, and that Liverpool just got over the line against the Wolves team. I thought Wolves were fantastic in the second half. And then when they score this goal, you're thinking they're right back in it. But I think sometimes you get a game like that when you're going for a title as well at home, where people think you're going to turn up and win easily. You're 2-0 up. You think you're going to go and score 3 or 4, and it becomes difficult for you. So we've all had these types of matches. So that's why I think it was a good result for Liverpool. But I also think Arsenal will look at it and think, OK, it wasn't a 4-0 against Wolves. It was a 2-1, so it gives us a bit of hope.
And you talk about the upcoming fixtures. Obviously, within that, there's the Champions League 16 matches for both sides. And until they're concluded in midweek, we won't know exactly who their opponents are going to be. But you mentioned the next two opponents for Liverpool, Aston Villa and Manchester City.
Those two are big, Kelly. They're really big. Because, look, Villa aren't in the best of form at this moment in time, but it's a ground you can go to and get caught out. And City,
same.
Absolutely, you can get caught out there. They've got the players that can turn up and score 2 or 3 against you. So for me, I think that if Liverpool could get 4 points out of those 2 games and move on, I think they'll be in a great position because, Arsenal are going to drop points as well towards the end of the season.
We're always looking at where to assess the title race. Are we looking there at a line under the end of February before it resets again? Because Liverpool have only got 1 Premier League game in March.
Yeah, and when I look at the games, obviously Arsenal found a way of winning yesterday, bringing on Marino, and he might be the answer as a centre-forward. I certainly don't think he is, but he'll get you goals because of his physicality up there. This is going to be edgy. You could see it with Liverpool today. He spoke after, just looked on the Sky Sports app there, and the manager said that we were bad and we got worse. And I sort of understand what he was saying because they were edgy. They've had a couple of bad results. They needed to get 3 points no matter how they did it. And I know how to lose a title. And Gary knows how to win a Premier League title. But that's the sort of pressure that you're going to come under. So it is going to be a case of who can handle the nerves and things like that. There's going to be so many twists and turns. I do still believe in this title race.
But Arsenal, if you look at those fixtures, if Liverpool can get through this week, Arsenal, I think, have got Nottingham Forest away and Manchester United away. It's coming up in the next 3. They're tough games for them. So I think Liverpool can get through this week. No, but you're going.
It's a hard game.
It sounds crazy, but when United play against the big teams, they can cause shocks. They can do stupid things sometimes, and they can turn up and lift the game. They are capable of that. So I think if Liverpool can get through this week with 4 points, I think there's a good chance Arsenal may drop points in those 2 as well, and then they'll be back to 7 points. So that'll be sort of par coming out of this difficult period.
These are second-half only stats, and for the first time since statistics were invented by whoever invented football statistics, Liverpool did not have a shot in a half of football. We literally... A, that's interesting. B, it shows how well Wolves played. But C, there are lots of different ways and lots of different attributes needed to win a league title, and Liverpool have just shown one of them. Guts it out when it's not going particularly your way. Because at half-time, you thought, they'll win 3-0. Let's go and walk the dog, as it were. And in the end, they had to slightly hang on.
And there are people out there without a life getting these stats.
Yeah. But they're very, very interesting.
For a club like Liverpool, for a football team like Liverpool, that's
amazing, isn't it?
Unheard of, really, for them not to get anywhere near
the goal,
Pepper in the goal, with the way they play and the 4 players they have. But
they won.
Who cares?
That's what. And
who cares? Points.
Another win. Guts it out. Not going your way after all the drama of the late game at Goodison, which you'd have loved Everton's late equaliser for obvious reasons. They would have been very nervous when Cunha made it 2-1. Anfield was extremely nervous. They're cheering throw-ins. They're cheering goal kicks. We all know. It means everything to win the league. So you have to show another side of your game, which is stick together, get leadership. Van Dijk.
And that's exactly what they did. Look, the job was done in the first half. They got 2 goals in the first half, and granted, the stats say that Wolves absolutely peppered them the second half, and to be fair, they did. And I was quite surprised that they weren't able to get themselves a second goal because they had some really, really good opportunities, good chances. But as I mentioned, the job was done in the first half. Nobody's going to look back at this game in... when is the season over? 3 months' time, and say, I'll tell you what, Liverpool were fortunate against Wolves. That's the reason they
don't care.
Slipped up. No, nobody cares.
Ugly win, ugly goals. I mean, this is an extraordinary goal because this is Salah, missed touch from Salah, a shank from Totti, and then a missed touch from everyone. It's the ugliest goal I've ever seen in my life.
And you know what? Sometimes when like you say, when you win like this, you can win 4-0, and it can be too easy. Your fans sometimes appreciate these kind of putting your body on the line, concentration, making sure the shape's right, doing the ugly work at number 6 and number 8, doing all those bits and bobs, getting knees and kicks and stuff and carrying on. It's appreciated. This is just bad defending.
Wolves felt that there was a foul on the defender. I don't think there was.
Bad defending.
He needs to be stronger.
Just leans on. He's just too strong for him.
He needs to be stronger. He's trying to take a touch. He's trying to pass the ball back. Listen, you're a centre-half. Get rid of the ball. Just boot it. Put it out of play, and you can't score from a throw-in.
And deal with it.
Then deal with it from there. Get everybody else behind the ball.
Third penalty this season that Sar's conceded. It was a clear penalty. Remember how good that penalty was the other day of Sar? Amazing.
My word.
This one, great again. He knows the keeper's going to dive, so just flick it down the middle.
But the connection's great. I mean, the penalty that went to the top corner the other day was just
it was lovely, wasn't it?
Outstanding.
It's the greatest penalty I've ever seen.
Yeah, me too.
It should be worth 2.
Have you not scored penalties before? before. That's the greatest one you've ever seen. The greatest one I've ever seen is any of mine.
The VAR overturn was excellent teamwork, was it? From the VAR, John Brooks in this building, and on-field referee Simon Hooper.
1 million %.
This is a blatant... He should have been booked for this, Jota. This is a dive.
Listen, it was phenomenal movement to get in that position in the first place. He gets past the defender. What I don't understand is you're on your right... Your strong foot...
And he drags...
Penalty spot, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Just put the ball in the back of the net.
Look, he drags his left foot into the defender.
And he should be booked for that.
He should have been booked.
It's disgusting.
And he didn't get booked?
No, he didn't get booked.
No, you can't book somebody on a VAR.
And
that was really good communication. That John Brooks goes, you need to have a look at this, for the reasons which came transparent. And Simon Hooper went, no, I'm happy, but it's not a penalty.
I wonder. I'm a lot older than you, but you've been retired a few years now. How does he feel when he goes into the dressing room, knowing full well that he's dived? Is there
Jota?
Yeah. Is there any embarrassment there? Because if in my era that happened, my teammates would absolutely hammer me. Would they lay into you?
Exactly the
What
same.
are you doing diving? Why are you diving? You could have scored.
So I reckon...
I don't get that.
I reckon if Wolves ended up equalising, the rest of the players are going to hammer him for that. Van Dijk will pick him up on it.
For not just knocking
Robertson
it in?
pick him up. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's unbelievable. Listen, you're going for a Premier League title and you're messing around like that. Imagine if he'd been booked now. And then he's walking a tightrope and then he gets booked again later on in the game.
It's so important, in this league especially, we know how hard it is to score goals in this league. If you have a chance to score.
It's hard to score in the Premier League.
It's so hard to score.
Don't give it up. Unless you're Cunha. What a goal this is. His 12th of the season. You were just talking off air about what might happen to him in the next 12, 18 months. Whether you think he might play in Spain or go to a bigger club with respect to Wolves. Whatever. What a footballer. Look at that little drag.
And do you know what it is about him at the moment? He's carrying this team with all due respect to the rest of the players. Like, they're all really, really good players, but they know as soon as we give the ball to him in any area closing in on the final third where the goal is, something's going to happen. He's flying on cloud 9 at the moment. His confidence is through the roof and his teammates all believe in him. I can't see him being there next season.
Great to watch.
Brilliant
Great to watch. Really exciting.
Let's have a look at Liverpool's upcoming fixtures. So they've got the Carabao Cup final. They're out of the FA Cup. The Champions League starts again soon. Had a nervy week. They lost in the FA Cup at Plymouth last weekend. Obviously drew with Everton. Just got over the line today. Villa away, City away. City had a good weekend. We'll see that in a second. Newcastle home. Those next three are quite tough, aren't they?
Yeah.
Quite tough.
Yeah.
They are, and the hardest two are possibly, at this present time, possibly Villa and Newcastle.
Yeah.
And Newcastle as well, are amazing. I mean, City have now maybe hit the form that they've been looking for all season, so that's going to be dangerous for them. So
another Merseyside derby coming up, this time at home in the beginning of April. There's a big fix. Of course there are, but that's a challenging batch.
Yeah,
of fixtures,
chunks of fixtures. Yeah, where you need to get your points, and it just shows. Get through those 3 games with 6 points.
Big, some good challenges coming up.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how they do cope genuinely, because with Arsenal picking up points, with Newcastle, with Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth are creeping around nicely, you know. If Liverpool don't pick up, as Dion said there, 6 points from those next games.
What they've done brilliantly, by and large, is keep their squad fit. I know Joe Gomez got injured the other day, but by and large, they've got a fit squad. And that's not a fluke. That's not coincidence.
No.
I think the way Arne Slot trains them, slightly different to Jurgen Klopp. I read a bit longer sessions, but not quite as intense. I think a recognition, actually.
And possibly resting certain players. Certain players doing half a session, or Virgil, you stay and have a massage or whatever.
Oh, Mo.
That sounds good. I want to be a footballer.
That was me.
I mean, it's fun.